Hi, I'm Kristen or KK, which I'm most commonly known as probably within the sphere of ultimate. I am really excited to offer you a little bit of help. I'm going to walk you through some stretching. The idea of this practice is meant to be after your cool down jog, after a tournament or anything like that. You can also do this after a heavy workout, which I know you do a lot of. So you can definitely turn to this post-workout, use this as a rest, recovery, and stretch time. I'll also give you a couple other tricks and tools that I know of that can help you. The first thing I wanted to teach you was actually a breathing exercise, a pranayama exercise that's usually done before a hot yoga or Bikram class. This type of breathing exercise specifically, although you can do it after your tournament and, breathing exercises, you can't really do enough of it. I highly recommend that this practice is done before you begin to warm up for a tournament. So like everyone's in the field, you're all circled up before you go on your warm up jog or before you begin to warm up for your workout. This is a really nice breathing exercise to get in the habit of doing. The one reason why I recommend doing this before warming up for a tournament, depending on who you are, obviously, like nerves can be running before a tournament and we have feelings inside of us. It has a physical impact on the way that we breathe. Mostly it shortens our breath, which increases our heart rate, increases stress levels, and increases the fight or flight response. And we want to calm the fight or flight response. And consciously controlling the breath is a way to do that. And when we anchor into the breath, we can allow the mind to calm down and allow the body to calm down. So I'll demonstrate for you.
Start with your feet together, toes and heels touching. Bring the weight on your heels and look straight ahead. Contract your thigh muscles, legs together, legs straight. Pull your belly in, lengthening and straightening your spine. Interlock all 10 fingers underneath your chin. Cross your thumbs with the thumbs touching on your throat. On your inhale, slowly bring your elbows up and out to the side and towards the ceiling. Keep your fingers interlocked underneath your chin and your thumbs against your throat. Your elbows should reach the highest point at the end of your inhalation. On the exhalation, exhale out of the mouth, look up towards the ceiling, and allow the neck to follow the direction of your eyes. Keep your spine underneath the neck straight and long. Only bend your neck. Look up and back. Slowly bring your elbows together. They should be as close together as you can get them at the end of your exhalation. And then the next inhalation, first separate your elbows, then slowly bring the head back down. Reach the top of your inhalation. On your next exhale, look up and back, drop the head back. Try not to bend through the spine at all, only the neck is bending here. Go really slow. Allow your eyes to lead the way. Look forward on your inhale, look up and back on your exhale.
Nice job. That is something that you can practice at any time. I highly recommend that you don't make that something you do for the first time before you play, because you bend through the neck and put stress on the shoulders that you may not be used to. So the idea is to add this to your workout or training regimen so that when it comes tournament time, you'll be used to it, the body will be used to it. And over time, the neck and the shoulders will actually loosen up and you'll be able to bring the head back even more. And now I'm going to bring you through a stretching exercise that you can do. You've done your cool down lap, you're maybe barefoot or you've just worked out and you want to work on some stretching. So let's do that. You can use the yoga mat, you don't have to. Feet hip distance apart here. Root down into the feet. Inhale, windmill the arms overhead, gaze upward. Right hand clasp on the left wrist. Exhale, lean over to the right, shoot the hips over to the left, root down into the left foot. Inhale the arms to center, exhale over to the left, shoot the hips over to the right, make sure the hand is clasped onto the right wrist. Inhale back up through center, lean over to the right. One more on each side. Inhale through center and exhale to the left. Deep breathing to the side of the body. Inhale through center, bring the hands together, the palms can face each other, and just begin to reach backward for a gentle back bend here. Soften down on the shoulders, really root down into the feet. Inhale, bring yourself back to a neutral spine. Exhale, the flat back, you're gonna hinge forward. Bring the arms wide and lead with your chest and come to a forward fold. It's okay if the hands don't reach the ground or anything. I know I've been practicing yoga for a long time, so I can't really help bending over this far. But if you need to bring the hands to the knees or to the legs, that's fine too. And just round through the spine. You can bend the knees generously if you'd like. Let the head hang freely and sway from side to side. Release the upper back, the neck, the head, and the shoulders. Mindfully taking some deep breaths. If you like, you can even grab onto opposite elbows here. This is called ragdoll. And just sway from side to side. See if this offers a little bit more of a release in the upper back. Bring the hands to the ground and inhale to lift yourself halfway up. So here the hands can come to the knees or legs. We're really trying to get a flat back here. So if you need to lift yourself up, that's fine. Long through the spine, long in the back of the neck. Feel the energy shoot out the top of your head as you reach long through the spine. Shoulders actively push away from the ears, and the belly button draws up towards the back of the spine. So the core is engaged. Inhale, exhale, release through the spine, forward fold. Breathe here. We're gonna make our way to a high plank and eventually bring the knees to the ground. Hands under the shoulders here. Lower down to your belly, hug the elbows in tight. And inhale, push up through the hands. You can come to a low cobra here for a gentle back bend, or you can push all the way up to a upward facing dog. The wrists are under the shoulders here. You actually push into the tops of the feet so the legs come off the ground about an inch. Stay long in the back of the neck, so you're not gazing up or bringing the head back or anything. Gaze forward. Shoulders down away from the ears. Breathe. It's okay if you have to work your way here. If you don't start here, it's all good. Maybe you're at your low cobra. Feel the length through the abdominal muscles. Take a big inhale and exhale, gently send the hips back for a child's pose. Bring the knees together. The hands can stay extended in front. Bring the forehead to the ground. Push up through the palms, through a tabletop position. Bring the wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips here. Nice and aligned. Spread the fingers really wide. We're going to use the core to lift the hips up and back. Curl the toes under, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels, nice deep stretch through the calves. If your hands don't feel comfortable here, shoulder width apart, you can bring them a little bit wider if you need to. Free the neck, shake the head yes and no. From here, we're gonna plant into the right foot, lift that left foot off the ground for a three-legged down dog. Keep the hips level. So point the left toes down towards the earth. Deep stretch through the right leg. Release the left foot to the ground and lift the right foot up for three-legged down dog. Keep the hips level. Nice deep stretch through the left leg. Push evenly through both hands. It's okay. Wherever your right foot is, it might come off a couple inches, maybe a couple feet. It's all good. Just try to get the hips level. Bring the right foot to the ground. Heel toe the feet pretty wide, about 2 to 2.5 feet. Keep your hands where they are, shoulder width distance apart for a wide-legged downward facing dog. Really shoot the sit bones up towards the sky and let the chest and head fall towards the center of the legs. And then walk the hands back to your legs. Heel toe the feet out a little bit wider. I'm gonna step long here. For a wide-legged forward fold, make sure that the feet stay parallel to the short edge of the mat or parallel to your torso, or the toes can be slightly pigeon-toed, and just fold over deeply here. You can explore your wide-legged forward fold. It can be in pretty close, or you can heel toe the legs out pretty wide if that feels good to you. It's all very personal. Everyone will look quite different in every pose. And then walk the hands over to the left foot, latch on to the leg or foot, and fold over. Bring the forehead towards the left shin. Couple breaths. And then walk the hands through the center. Bring the hands over to the right foot, leg, or shin. Grab on, draw the forehead towards the right leg. And then come back through center. Here in our wide-legged forward fold, we're gonna walk the hands forward back to our downward facing dog. Heel toe the feet back to hip distance apart. Take a deep inhale. Step the right foot through in between the palms. Draw that left foot up a little bit, both legs straight here and hinge over the right leg. This is called pyramid pose. You can bring the hands to the leg if you'd like, or any other household item for support. Keep a micro bend in that right knee to protect the joint here. We don't want any locking. And just fold over. See if you can drive that right hip back and the left hip forward. Deep stretch through the back of the right leg, maybe the hip. And then we're gonna step the left foot forward to meet the right for a quick forward fold, and then step the right foot back for pyramid pose on the opposite side. Both toes can face forward. It's okay if the back heel comes off the ground. And just bring your hands to the leg or all the way to the ground if you can. Let the head hang. Keep a micro bend in the knees. Drive that left hip back and the right hip forward gently. No need to force it. Just kind of explore. From here, we're going to plant the palms, bring that right foot back a little bit more, bring the right knee to the ground. The right toes can stay curled under or the foot can be flat on the ground. We're just gonna lift ourselves up and bring the hands to the left knee and sink a little bit deeper into the hips. Really scoop the tailbone under to engage a stretch in the right hip flexor and quadricep. Stay really long in the chest, maybe roll the shoulders back and down, long through the spine. This might be enough of a quad stretch for you, but if you would like, you can sink a little bit deeper into the hips. You can also bring the right hand to the ground if you'd like, and bend at the right knee, and then take that left hand behind you to clasp onto the foot or ankle. I can't right now because, tight quads. We're all in it together. I'm just gonna pretend like I'm clasping onto my ankle. This is still a really deep stretch if you can get that foot off the ground. Or you can just hang out here in your lunge. And when you're ready, bring the hands to the ground. We're gonna bring that left knee back and step the right foot forward. Bring the hands up to the knee. Kind of scoop the tailbone under to engage a deeper stretch in the left hip flexor and quadricep. Broaden in the chest, give your lungs some space to breathe. And again, this might be enough for the quad, but you can also sink a little bit deeper. Make sure that the knee does not go over the ankle. We're not trying to hurt any joints here. Left hand to the ground, bend at the left knee. This also might be enough. So you can also take that right hand back to reach for the foot or ankle. Or you can just hang out in your lunge. Nice job. Bring the hands to the ground. We're going to heel toe that right foot behind the left hand and bring in the ground for pigeon pose, a nice deep stretch in the hip and glutes. The goal here is to try to get the shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. So try to get the shin parallel. There may be quite a large gap here between the booty and the ground, but you can also bring that foot back towards the left hip if that feels more comfortable to you. Make sure the left leg is straight up behind you. This might be enough. You can hang out here if you want. You can also walk the hands forward for a deeper fold, come down to the forearms or all the way to the ground, depending on your flexibility here, structural alignment of the body. We're all different. You really want to feel this in the hip and glute area. And once you find a deep stretch, just breathe deeply into the hip, almost as if a pair of lungs were residing there to help open up space there. Fill the body with oxygen. During your game days or workout sessions, you can stay in pigeon pose for as long as you need, but we're going to move to the other side. Push through the palms and step that right foot back. You can flow through your downward facing dog if you'd like. We're going to bring the left shin forward and set it on the ground. So the left foot is behind the right hand and the knee is behind the left hand. Again, the goal here is to try to get the shin parallel to the short edge of the mat or your shoulders, essentially. Right leg is straight up behind you. Find your edge. No need to force anything. Try to get the hips level. You can stay here. This might be enough, or you can walk the hands forward for a more comfortable, restorative, relaxing pose. You really want to feel this in the hip and glute area. And then breathe space into the hip. You can stay here for as long as you need. And we're going to move on to the next, which is frog pose. Push through your hands. You can curl the right toes under for downward facing dog again if you want to get a counter stretch in the hips. We're going to drop the knees to the ground and bring the knees out wide. The toes can kind of face in towards each other. Maybe the big toes touch. It's actually kind of easier if you get on a slippery surface. And just let the hips drop towards the ground. Find your edge. You can bring the forearms or hands to the ground for a frog pose, really, really deep stretch through the inner groin, inner legs and hips area. You can also begin to bring your feet out wider so that you make a 90-degree angle with the knees, but that might be a little too intense. So you can bring the toes closer together. Both are intense, just in different ways. And take a moment to breathe here. When you're ready, you can either fall forward onto your belly, or you can push up through your palms, nice and controlled, and bring the knees in and just rest here for a moment to let the hips neutralize. We continue to make our way closer to the ground. So bring our hips to the ground, sweep the legs in front, and we'll bring the legs wide for a seated straddle or wide-legged fold again. Feel yourself rooted down into the sit bones. You can even pull the flesh away from your booty to feel that extra connection to the earth underneath the sit bones. Flex the feet. Get really long in the spine. Bring the hands in front of you. Inhale and exhale to feel the hinging coming from the hips here. Keep the spine long. Pull the earth towards you. You can stay here if you'd like, or you can begin once you find your length With the hinging at the hips, you can begin to round at the spine and let the head hang. The hands can also come to the ground. You don't have to be this deep. And stay here for a few breaths. When you're ready, walk yourself back up to neutral spine. Drop the left hand towards the left foot and reach the right hand up and over. You can gaze forward or up towards the sky and breathe space through the right side of the body. Come back through center, bring the right hand down to the right leg, left hand up, and open up in the left side of the body. Come back to neutral spine. Nice job. Bring the legs together for seated staff pose. Flex the feet here again. So this is active stretching. When you flex the feet, you simultaneously activate the muscles in the legs. Inhale, find length in the spine, and exhale, hinge at the hips. You can bend the knees if you need to, and pull yourself forward for a deep forward fold. You can latch on to the legs, ankles, or feet. Once the knees are bent, you can just begin to kind of straighten them out if that works for you, but don't force anything. You can just fold over and hang out here for a few breaths with the feet flexed. Walk the hands up your legs to neutral spine. Set that right hand behind you and then bend at the left knee. Set the shin on the ground, maybe the top of the foot is on the ground, and just begin to lean backward. You'll feel this nice deep stretch through the left quad. You can come down as low as you need. Maybe staying up on the palms is enough, but you can also make your way down to the forearms too. This is called half heroes pose. Everything has a name. Stay here for as long as you need. Push up the palms, straighten the left leg out. Bring that left hand down behind you. Bend at the right knee so that the shin and the top of the foot is kind of on the ground here. And then bring both hands behind you and lower down to your personal point of resistance, wherever that may be. The breath is a great tool once you kind of feel that resistance happening and the stress on the body. Like right now, my right quad is being really stretched. And then when I breathe in really deeply, I can feel just the expansion of the breath in the right quadricep, which helps to not only breathe in oxygen to that area, but also to allow it to stretch just a little bit deeper that I might not have been able to do physically on my own. So the breath is an awesome tool to breathe space into tight areas of the body. When you're ready, push up through your palms, come back up to a seat, and we'll bend at the left knee and come up onto our knees here. Bring the knees wide, the big toes touch, sink the hips towards the heels, and walk the hands forward for a wide knee extended child's pose. Take several breaths in your child's pose, whatever it takes to kind of feel calm and centered. This is a great time to grab your roller or your lacrosse ball to get into any other areas of the body that you need to give some loving care to. A couple other things that I brought to Indie Red, which I think will also be helpful for you, is a couple ankle and wrist stretches. So first you can begin to kneel or be in a tabletop position. The first thing that we're going to do is bring the palms out in front. So the tops of the forearms are facing towards the ceiling. The fingertips face down towards the ground. And then we're just going to bring the palms to the ground. So the fingertips are going to face the knees and then push into the palms. You can come up onto the knees if you need to, kind of in a tabletop position, and just rock forward and backward to explore your edge. And then once you kind of notice where you feel that deep stretch, just push into the hands and open up through the bottom of the wrist. You stay here for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, come back onto the knees, circle through the wrists, nice and easy. And then we're going to reach the hands forward and bring the fingertips towards the ground. And then we're going to keep the wrists bent and bring the tops of the hands to the ground. Here you can rest down on your knees, or you can come up into a tabletop and push into the tops of the hands. A nice deep stretch through the tops of the wrists. You can also get this stretch by grabbing onto the hand with the opposite hand and pull the hand towards you for a stretch through the top of the wrist. And you can do the same thing on the other side as well. The floor just gives you really nice, solid foundation and leverage to get a deep stretch through the wrists. The second thing, we're actually already doing it. So kneeling here, kneeling on and letting the glutes rest on the heels. This is a stretch through the tops of the feet. And you can just sit here for a little bit. You might not even really notice that it's stretching, or you might notice it a lot. And you can just sit here and breathe with it. And once you've been here for a little bit, you can bring the hips to the ground and sweep the legs in front and let the feet and ankles neutralize. Maybe circle through the ankles here. And then lastly, we'll come back to a kneeling posture, but this time we're going to have the toes curled under. I have major issues with my toes here, so if you do, this will probably be extremely difficult. And if that's the case, you can put something underneath your knees to kind of lift the knees off the ground a little bit. But if not, you can just rest here. This gives you a deep stretch all the way from the toes, through the soles of the feet, and through the heels and ankles. And then once you're ready, you can release the toes completely, sweep the legs in front, circle through the ankles and the feet, and there you go. I also would recommend doing a gentle inversion, whether that, I'll just demonstrate for you, whether that just be lying down on your back and straighten the legs up towards the sky, which is, similar to basically putting your legs up a wall, which a lot of athletes have done before, to let the blood run out of the feet and the legs to help with swelling, aching muscles, bring the blood into the center of the body, into the head. So this can be a nice thing to do after child's pose. I'll finish off our time together just by taking 3 deep breaths. So when you're ready, you can rest your hands on your knees. The palms can face down on the knees, or you can rest the wrists on your knees with the palms facing upward. Find a comfortable seat, root down into the sit bones evenly, lengthen up through the spine, feel the shoulders actively push down away from the ears, and then soften down through the face. And we'll take a deep breath through the nose. Inhale, fill the lungs all the way up to the top, and then pause at the top of your breath. Exhale, audible sigh out of the mouth. Draw the belly in as you wring out all of the stale air. Inhale, all the way up to the top. Exhale, side out. Out of the mouth, wring it out all the way to the bottom until there's no air left. Inhale, all the way up to the top. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Soften down on the shoulders. Nice job. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your time together. I wish I could be there in real life. Other than that, feel free to contact me directly. My website is zenlabindy.com, where I teach online classes, online yoga classes. And you can also email me, zenlabindy@gmail.com. Bye.